Hi, welcome to Ask Jenks, our social media series featuring you, our Jenks citizens. And today we have a special guest, Counselor Craig Murray. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And we are actually at the Jenks Police Department today because we're going to talk a little bit about public safety. But first, let's do a little get to know you icebreaker. So can you give us what ward you cover, how long you've been a counselor, and then what do you do outside of council life?
Wow. Well, I am Ward 2, which is a little bit of the southern portion of Jenks, to the west a little. I've been a counselor for over 7 years. Wasn't ever in the public eye per se of this kind of caliber, but I always thought at one point I would like to do this, and so I ran, and here I am, and I've enjoyed it very much.
Nice.
Outside of this, I work for First Baptist Jenks.
Okay.
I do security for them, and I am a receptionist answering the phone, and so it's a wonderful place. My wife and I both go to church there, and enjoy it a lot.
Well, I can't think of anyone better. You're excellent at your people skills. So, well, we're really excited to have you today. I know public safety is pretty near and dear to your heart. Maybe we just get started.
Okay.
The question that we have from our citizen is, with all the new growth in Jenks, how is public safety impacted?
I know from experience that anytime you add an element to something like more traffic, more people, unfortunately, there's always that risk of a crime going or a crime happening. But I think with the public knowledge of Jenks, I think with the first responders, both police and fire that we have, they do an excellent job here. And I think for people to understand that we are one of the safest cities in Oklahoma, statistic-wise.
Okay, so that's a really impressive recognition. Can you kind of elaborate on who gave us that award or who recognized us?
Agencies report crime statistics to the FBI.
Okay.
FBI gathers all of that and does a database on it. But an organization did a survey called Smart Assets. They looked at all of this information that was collected and showed that our suburb of Jenks was one of the safest in Oklahoma.
Okay, wow. That is really impressive. So did they look at, maybe some numbers would help me understand. So how many were they looking at? Large cities, small cities of our size?
Comparable sizes. There were 370, I think, areas that they looked at with 100 different large cities that included all that. They look at violent crimes. They look at domestic crimes. They look at auto thefts and information of that. And all of that is collected and disseminated to their different categories. And then based on all of that information, it showed that we were a very safe city.
I love that. And that's such big recognition for our first responders, our Jenks Fire and Jenks Police officers, right? Okay, what I hear a lot from our citizens, that's amazing that we're statewide recognized for being the safest suburb. But what's really great is that I hear a lot from our citizens how great our Jenks Fire and Police are in the community, interacting with our citizens. The amount of emails, Facebook messages, calls that we get about how they go above and beyond for certain things. You know, we had a police officer providing bus tickets to two people that didn't have a home and they needed to get to Texas. We have Jenks Fire going out and getting animals out of sewers. We really do have this amazing public safety initiative in Jenks, and I think we prioritize it, which all goes back to council and city leadership as well. So when we talk about public safety now with new growth, what are some of the things council and leadership kind of anticipated and put into play to keep this level of service up for our citizens?
Great question. And I know people are concerned about things. And with my background, which I didn't really mention earlier, but I'm a retired Tulsa police officer.
Thank you.
My father was a Tulsa police officer and my oldest son is. So we're a third generation. So coming into city council, I had an interest, obviously, and a compassion for public safety, whether it's police or fire, because they both do such a service to our community. I know with looking at things, anything we can do, and I know all 7 of the counselors, and that's mayor and vice mayor included there, are very passionate about wanting to make sure our citizens are safe. They live here. They've got an interest here too. And so doing so, we have pushed what we can to try to do better. Fortunately, we have some opportunities. The Safer Grant, something that the fire chief was able to apply for, and it was able to, for allowing us to hire 6 brand new firefighters
Wow.
above and beyond what we had.
Mm-hmm.
We have also replaced some that have left for whatever reason. So our complement of firefighters is getting to such a better capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Always room for improvement, don't
Right.
get me wrong. But then with that, we are building a brand new fire station right across from City Hall. The old fire station served a purpose for a number of years, but unfortunately, it had been piecemealed together over the years. And as we found, it kind of leaked. Water got in places it shouldn't, and there was mold issues. And then that was a safety hazard. And the city manager said, we just can't allow our firefighters to live in this capacity. So we put them all in Station 2. We are building a new station across the street. The police department has been applying for grants and looking for grants that they can get. But because of the interest and compassion I have for this, and so do the city councilors, we're able to hire 5 brand new police officers for this. And so we are expanding their complement of officers. Again, with things, as we first talked about, with new things coming, more traffic, more people, there's always a need for more police and more fire. But having a safer city makes a big difference, but it's because of the interest and compassion those people have for what they do for a living.
Absolutely. That is really exciting. So 6 new firefighters, and they've already gone through the academy, and they're out on the streets.
They're already on the streets.
Right. That's amazing. And then the new fire station broke ground in June, I believe.
I believe so.
Okay. And so that's going to be, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard from numerous sources at the fire department, this is state of the art. It is. They are going to be able to do training exercises there that they have normally had to leave town for to go and train. They are going to have room for their new engines. There's going to be an area for offices. So I mean, what I've heard and seen the renderings for, this is not only amazing for our current firefighters, but like you were discussing with council, is recruiting new talent, recruiting more firefighters for the future. So that's wonderful.
Having the tools they need, whether it's new police cars, new fire trucks, or a new facility like the fire station, makes such a difference. Because when you're recruiting out there and you can show these new applicants, like, look what we can offer you.
Right.
The capacity is there. And as a hint, the new fire station, I understand, is going to have a sliding pole from upstairs.
Okay, well, we might have to have you first on that. We'll get that on film.
Okay.
And so you mentioned, we talked a little bit about fire, but you mentioned 5 new police officers. And what I think is great about that is in the conversation that I know council has had, I know city leadership has had with Chief Jackson, our Jenks police chief. First of all, the grand opening of the mall in August, the Tulsa Premium Outlets went without a hitch. I mean, that's all, amazing for our Jenks police that handled that, and Simon Mall security that was super, super from our citizens even getting compliments. So that was great.
It's a big deal. A
big deal, because that is a huge undertaking. But the other great news that I heard is that our police chief said that in this, with the mall opening and all this stuff, they've seen a little uptick, maybe a couple car break-ins, a little bit of shoplifting, but everything has been he said it is so manageable because of the level of service our police officers provide, and that we're having new officers out on the street. So it's really wonderful to hear how you guys think about it on council.
It can't be more prouder of them, not only from my background, but at least as a citizen, knowing that they're doing these things. The hand in hand that they're able to do, the police with the outlet mall, the Simon property people, and their security has made a great impact on that. And so you say, there's been maybe a couple break-ins, a couple shoplifting, but I think from what I understand, there have been apprehensions.
Yes.
So people are paying for what they did that was illegal.
Yes.
And that's only because we're able to put people there, able to work with the Simon property people. And it's wonderful. It's a good networking.
Absolutely. It sounds like police are just being very proactive, which is what we want to hear. We want to hear community policing. We want to hear proactive policing. And I think we have that and more with our Jenks Police Department.
For sure.
Yeah.
Too often people see something and they're like, oh, somebody else will do something, or somebody else will call it in. That's how we are able to take care of things. When you see something wrong, call it in. When
Yeah.
you see something wrong, don't take action. We don't want anybody hurt by any means, but let the police know, let the fire department know. They are trained to handle situations, and that's why we have this.
Yes. Well, this has been an amazing, amazing discussion with you, because not only are we talking about how great our first responders are here in Jenks, but also the action items that council and city leadership have taken to just continue that level of excellence. And so we appreciate that as citizens, as staff. I know our Jenks Police Department and our Jenks Fire Department are grateful for all council and city leadership do and dedicate to them. So thank you for being here. Did you want to add anything at the end?
We probably maybe have a couple of hours, but I think one thing that I do like to, and it's not a pat on my back from the standpoint, but I'm very involved with Safe Kids and doing child passenger safety. 99% of our firefighters are trained in that. A good portion, and maybe 40 to 50% of our police officers are trained in that. And they come and help out making sure that children are safe when they travel in cars.
Yes.
Helping that parent and caregiver install that seat and put that child in, and keeping them safe. And that's what keeps our roads a lot safer. And then that's one of the things. I mean, I know being out there and handing out tickets or making car stops or traffic control things, it's just part of an everyday job. But when they go above and beyond and be involved to show that, and it's community relations, it's community policing, it's public relations, all wrapped up into one. But doing something like that just shows how much more involved they like to be in our community.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned it, so that we can tell our audience that tell your loved ones, if you have a child, if you need a car seat installed, you can always stop by our Jenks Fire Station 2 or Jenks Police, and one of our certified Safe Kids will come out and install or check your car seat. And that's a really great service that we have
Absolutely.
here. So thank you for mentioning that. And thank you for being here. We appreciate, and thank you for your service in your past life. And thank you for your service to council. We really appreciate it.
Enjoy it.
So that wraps up our Ask Jenks for today. Remember, if you have a question for us, please go to our homepage, jenks.com, and click on the Ask Jenks graphic, and you can submit your question there. You can also comment on this post. And until next time, this is Ask Jenks.